Hi. This week I'm naming it Calm Knowing. Last week it was calm, and that has got a wonderful centre within oneself that there's just the next step. And that brings about a calmness. You know, when a cup breaks, you spill milk, it's just the next step. You clean it up, you put it in the bin, whatever it is, it's next. You throw it away, mend it, whatever. That calmness deepened exponentially this week. And I have to mention that the beings I worked with were in their 50s, 60s on this particular issue, and they'd gone through quite a lot of life, overcoming a lot of stuff, partnerships, looking after parents, the passing of parents. It's a lot. There was a tiredness around this week, and what I do want to mention before going on to talking about what the main calm knowing is about is that 4 of them came up with the same Australian bush essence, which is pink mulla mulla, which is to do with deep ancient wounds. And the deep ancient wound brings about what I saw with those that came, an enormous amount of doing their best, being over generous, trying to really see how the gap could be closed. And what is that gap? That gap was a deep abandonment. And how did this deep abandonment occur? It's about how the world came to be. We're in an extremely dense 3D situation. And the focus is so much on knowing and planning and literally being mental. And they all kind of came across a point of time of coming into this world, which I spelled W-H-I-R-L-E-D, world. And in that becoming dense, that ultimate light connection to self, that transmission of light, that transduces and transduces and transduces. We come into physicality. The hormones transduce us further in this capacity to deal with this world. At some point, the density was so much that a sense of I'm abandoned. I've lost that connection. And out of that pattern, a desire to be good, to do the best, to see what we can do to heal this abandonment with others, to bring about this no separation, can cost a lot. And usually a sense of self-esteem is knocked because of this inability to bring about this overcoming of abandonment. And how do we play as a team? When in fact, there's great self-esteem in being able to hold that connection while others have lost it. And nothing is lost, because separation is the biggest lie. And to be able to come to that place of there is no separation, a calmness of knowing appears. And these beings that I saw were very much, they were embodied, they had overcome so much, but they had also gone mental in terms of looking for this connection. Looking for this connection through mind is mental. because it's not something you can work at, or it's there, whether others see it or not. When you have that sense of knowing there is no separation, it's there, and find that calm in yourself. That energy of calmness then is what attracts others to feel calm around you. And if there are those, and there are many, who haven't found that calmness, by staying calm yourself, the world can whirl around you, but that calmness eventually recognizes another calmness. Those relationships where you can just sit and not speak. And the not speaking isn't because the other doesn't hear you and there's nothing worth speaking anyway because they don't hear you anyway. Not that kind of silence. But the silence that is full in companionship. It comes from that knowing. So the male aspect that showed up very much wanted to work out, how can I find a partner? Because I want to feel this. I want to feel this emotion, this connection, this partnership in that way. And with the female who was in denial of this need altogether, or this desire, because 50 is not old. And having that desire was constantly mentally battled with by saying, I'm so happy by myself. I love going out with my girlfriends, and I hate it when they try and set me up with someone. I just don't want to go there. But it was all premised on past experience. In working on it, keeping it all together, being in control to such an extent where that was not possible anymore. Because we cannot control whether another has this calmness or not, or can meet you in this calmness. So the more capable you are, the more you can put up with, which we looked at last week. And that seems to be something that is finally that energy is working its way into what's really going on, what's my part in it, what am I enabling, what am I clear about, and what am I really looking for. And this inner calmness, when you're with others who carry that calmness, then by default, all those wonderful feelings of happiness, and I'm with my tribe, and it doesn't get better than this. That is really the way we want to be and live, but we need to stay open with it and not go mental and mind. Because when there's hurt in the past, and sometimes this innocence, this beauty, this allowing, and then to find out in the background that they weren't on the same page in any shape or form, but just using that beautiful innocence. How do we move forward and have that in the past, especially when a new relationship does show up and it has all the markers of freedom, joy, we're both mad together and we love, we just click, it just fits so well. And then that voice, can you trust it? Should you really, this happened and that happened, and this enormous suspiciousness ends up in the background that ends up spoiling it again. It's mental. Many years ago, I did what was a communication course run by NLP. And the creator of the course was actually running it. And so many things I learned from that particular weekend. But there was one thing that he said that never left me. He said, you always know whether there is love in the room or control in the room. He said, when someone walks in the room and your breath changes, especially when it's a holding breath, you know love just got sucked out of the room. At the same time, if the breath doesn't change and that continuous of the team that are working, you know love is in the room. So simple to catch. So those who you're in relationship with, if there's that relaxed sense, it's so beautiful. On the other hand, if you carry that deep calmness yourself and you notice your physicality is reacting to who comes in the room, you can draw on your own inner calmness and knowing to hold the space for that. So the card this week was openness. Openness creates an allowance of the self to be without judgment. Openness breaks down barriers, melts away fears, and allows creativity and communication to flow. Check your feelings. When you are being open, there will be no need to feel defensive. Let go all levels of fear, doubt, worry, and concern, and what you have left will be confidence, self-esteem, and love, all of which function very well with openness. Enjoy.